Okay, a very warm welcome to you all from me. I'm Colin. It's round about 8:30 here in the UK, but wherever you are, you're very welcome. And we're going to look at the eight hands that some of you at least will have played this evening. It's always a bit of a mystery to me why those of you that come and watch this don't play earlier, because you'll learn it by playing it. Never mind. These are the eight hands. This is board one on your screen at the moment, and the auction was well. I'm going to talk about it because there is a point of interest, I think. I mean, there's an ACOL type one no trump, which is 12 to 14 in the ACOL system. Two hearts to transfer to spades. Now, some people just complete the transfer come what may, regardless of what they've got. Some people break it if they've got four, simply by bidding three spades. They don't have any other mechanism. It simply says, I've got four spades, partner. If you're suitable, we might go any further. And other people get a little bit more sophisticated. If I play with my regular partners, two no trump says, I'm maximum with four spades, partner. A bit of a suit says I've got four spades and I have concentrated values in the suit I'm just bidding. And bidding three spades says I'm not maximum and I don't have concentrated values, but I still have four spades. But whatever you play with your regular partner, I think it's probably a good idea to have some mechanism for breaking the transfer when you have four card support for partners, known five card suit. But the auction we were given was that North bids three spades. South is going to bid four anyway, I think, eventually, even though it would bid three no trumps and North would bid four spades. Now, I suspect that several of you will have made this contract, not because you played it properly, but because you guessed which spade to start off with. When we look at it, let's have a look at it. We've got no diamond losers. We've got no club losers. We've got two heart losers. So all that matters is we don't lose two spades. And what that really means is we need to guard against a 4-0 spade break. Now, if we start off with the ace of spade, well, let's see what happens. We get the lead of a heart. You catch a second heart. Then they probably switch to a diamond. Okay. Two diamonds, say. Oh yes, I'll turn this sound off, Sanya, sorry. Bear with me, settings, sound effects off. There we go. Right, so we stop the boom. Okay, now we need to play these spades in such a way that we can cater for four of them in either hand. Well, as it happens, if you start off with a small spade from dummy here, you can't really get it wrong because West shows out. You can throw a heart, say, and now you can lead towards dummy twice and pick up the king. Effectively, all you're going to lose is the king. But if you'd have played a small spade and East-West had followed, what were you going to do? So do that. If West had followed to the small spade, finessing the 9 is not a good idea. That might have lost to the singleton 10, and West would still have had a trick with the king 8-5. Right, well, we'll come to it in a moment. blue. Okay, because I'm going to show you the other hand at the moment. So those of you that started off with a small spade to the ace, they didn't have a problem. We'll just go through the play. Oh no, we're not going to throw a club, we'll throw a heart because dummy's got 4 clubs. There we go. You know to play the ace. And well, now you'll play another one. And it doesn't help him to go up with the king. So you win with the jack. And now you cross back to hand with the club. And we play another spade. And he's limited to 1 spade trick. That's it. So playing the ace first works, but only because East has got the 4. Let's claim that one. And now I'm going to load the board again, but a slightly different version. I need to get back to find my hands again there. Okay. Right, this is the same hand north-south, but I've put the spades on the other side. So same contract is going to be 4 spades by north. We don't need to go through the auction again. And we get the same lead. There's the lead. Same defense. They cash 2 hearts. Right, now if I play a small spade from dummy, oh, I've got to play the diamond first. There we go, jack of diamonds. Now, if I play a small spade from dummy and West plays low, if I put the 9 in, I run the risk of losing to the singleton 10 by East, and then West will still have King 8 X left, and we will still lose another trick. So leading a small one from dummy is not the way to do it. But what works in both cases is crossing back to hand with a club and then leading a small spade. Now we'll go back to the first hand in a moment and see how that would have worked with the original holding. But here, East shows out. We play the jack, and it loses to the king. But now we have the entries to finesse against the 10. We can play small to the queen and then small back to the 9. So that will pick up. Let's continue it. What's he going to play? Another diamond, maybe? I should have cashed those 2 clubs first. Let's cash the 2 clubs first before we cross back over to dummy with that queen of spades. Where are we in dummy? We just won the diamond, that's fine, so we need to catch the club. We know the club is standing up now because he's just shown out. We didn't need to do it really. We could have got over there with a diamond drop just the same. But now we can finesse against the other spade. So we're going to make our 10 tricks this way, because we started off with a small spade. Right, so there's our 10 tricks. I'm going to go back to the first one now and see what happens if we play a small one. This is the original holding, the way you played it. Okay, 4 spades again by North. Lead again, heart. With the diamond. Right, now we don't play a small spade from dummy. We cross the dummy. This will cater for either opponent having all 4. And we're playing a small spade. And we shall put the jack in. And West shows out. So what do we do now? Well, we can cross back to hand with the club. It's the ace of spades. And then another spade towards dummy. Yeah, I shall mute everybody. Hold on just a moment. I think I've figured out how to do that now. Let's just have a look. And we can mute everybody. Participants, mute all. There we go. Right, back over here. Doesn't matter whether he takes his king then and net. So playing a small spade first will cater for either hand having all 4. Those of you that played the ace first or played a small spade from dummy, you were lucky because they were where you wanted them to be.
What line do you take, Colin, if declarer doesn't have the 9 or 10 of spades?
If he doesn't have the 9, then you don't have a lot of choice. I would play the ace and then small towards the queen jack. But if having the 9 makes all the difference, you can't cater with a 4. If you're missing king 10 9x, you can't cater for that. Okay, do we have any other questions or comments on board 1? Yeah, some of you were lucky, Jock. Yes. Oh, I don't know. Did you hear Jeff's question there? We welcome Jeff and Vlad. Jeff Simpson is a very old friend of mine, and I've been on a lot of bridge holidays with Jeff and his wife Linda, and I have every respect. I used to give him problems when we were on holiday, and I finished up giving him a load of them for him lessons. Okay. Yeah, if you have any questions, type them to the table so that everybody can see what the question is, and I'll do my best to answer it. The question that Jeff just asked is, what difference would it make if the 9 of spades was not included in declarer's holding? And now, of course, you cannot cope for sure with with the possible breaks. King 10 9x or King 10 9 8 even, I think is very likely going to take 2 tricks. Yeah, I hope we will see Jeff and Vlad in the future because they're both very good players, I know. Okay, no questions on board 1. We'll move on to board 2, he says. Board 2. Get rid of the pictures. Upload video to the table. Here we go. No opposition bidding, and the contract is going to be 6 hearts by East. So we'll just bid 6 hearts. Right. And the lead that we get was the 9 of spades. And somebody asked me about the lead of the 9. These leads, generally speaking, I play strong 10s, and I'd advise people to play strong 10s if they don't already. But which means I can't lead the 10 unless I have a higher honour or it's a singleton or a doubleton. So for me, leading the 9 says I've got the 10 partner if this is from length, but I don't have anything higher. And it's very useful to partner to know that. But in particular, if I lead the jack, then I won't have a holding such as King Jack 10 or Ace Jack 10. The jack will be my highest honour if I lead it. So that again is a big advantage to partner, can recognise that I can't have King Jack 10 because for that holding I would have led the 10. So if you don't play strong 10s, look them up and discuss them with partner. There are a few variations, but I think any one of those is probably better than leading, the jack from Jack 10 9 or from King Jack 10 or from Ace Jack 10. That leaves a lot of guesswork for partner. So the 9 here promised the 10, but nothing higher. Not that that was important to Declarer. Okay, but he's going to have to win this in hand. He doesn't have any choice. Now the question is, how do we avoid losing 2 heart tricks? And we're lucky that we didn't get a club lead, because if we'd got a club lead, either would have had to take the finesse straight away, which wouldn't have been very likely. We probably were going to go down. But we didn't get a club lead, so we have time. Now, if the hearts are 2-1, it doesn't matter what we do, basically. We can cash the ace and play another one. And all they'll make is 1 heart trick. And then hopefully we can throw the clubs away on good diamonds. All right. But what if the hearts are 3-0? Well, now if we play a small heart to the ace or cash the ace first, clearly we will go off with the situation as it is, because North will make the king and the jack. So cashing the ace first is not a good idea. If we were in dummy, we could lead the 10. And if North showed out, then we could go up with the ace and play small towards the queen, and we'd only lose 1. Right, so leading the 10 would be the safety play if we were in dummy. But we're not in dummy, and the only way we can safely get to dummy is by overtaking the diamond. But then we might need diamonds to be behaving better later on. So we really need to try and find a safety play, playing the hearts from hand. And what we're going to do here is to lead a small heart intending to finesse the 10. Because what will happen is that if South follows and we put the 10 and it loses to the jack, then the king is going to fall under the ace next time, provided they can't get a ruff. So leading small and intending to finesse the 10 is just as good. And it saves us trying to use an inconvenient entry to dummy. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to play a small heart, and South shows out. All right, so we know North, but now he can make his jack, and well, he can't. He can tack diamonds if he wants to. He can play a second spade. It's probably the best thing he can do. But we now know we're going to have a long-term heart entry. So we don't need to take the club finesse. Oh, sorry. Hang on a minute. I'm going to lead the Queen of Hearts. It doesn't really matter whether he covers it or not, because we're going to take 2 rounds anyway. Now we're going to cash these diamonds. And we don't need a friendly diamond break, which we ran the risk of. Now we can cross the dummy with a trump. And discard our 2 club losers on the long diamond. So we're finishing up with our 12 tricks. It has to be said that Vlad didn't play it like that. He crossed the dummy with a diamond. He couldn't afford the club finesse. Crossed the dummy with a diamond to play the hearts. And then in the end game, he didn't take the club finesse. He crossed a dummy and roughed a diamond to set the diamonds up, and then he still had a heart entry or a club entry, I can't remember which, to get back to the 5th diamond to get rid of his club. So he still made it. I don't think it was the best line, but because he would have gone off if the diamonds had been 5-1. But he succeeded, and well rescued, Vlad. Okay. So that's how we make board 2. That's the safety play. If you're in hand, a small heart intending to finesse the 10 if South follows. And if South goes out, you play the 10, North wins with the Jack. Or you can play the Queen and North wins with the King. Either way, you can finesse against the other one because you have an entry in clubs and you don't need to take the club finesse. Club lead would have taken you down. Lucky. Any questions or comments on board 2? Okay, we will move on to board 3. Again, no opposition bidding, and South is going to play in 6 diamonds, so we'll just bid 6 diamonds. I have to say, the tables that I watched here, they were all helped. The ones I watched, I didn't watch everybody, but they were all helped by West, who couldn't resist putting a high diamond in when South led one, and couldn't resist playing the 9 or the Queen or the Jack. Let's have a look at it. 6 diamonds, and we get the lead of the 9 of hearts. The same again as before, promises the 10, but nothing higher. Okay, then we've got no heart losers, we've got no spade losers. We've probably got no club losers, but depends how the clubs break, of course. But we can cater with 4-1 in either hand if we know about it. But what's really the danger is the diamonds breaking 4-0. Now, if East has got 4 diamonds to the Queen Jack, well, I can try muting everybody again. Hold on just a minute. Mute all. There we go. If anybody wants to unmute themselves, they'll have to let me know now because they won't be able to do it. The only real danger is if the diamonds break 4-0. And if East has got 4 diamonds to the Queen Jack, he's going to make 2 of them. We can't end play him in diamonds at the end to make him lead away from his other one. So he's going to make 2. So we should be concentrating our efforts on West possibly having 4 diamonds. And there's a few brownie points, style points up for grabs here. Because, you know, we're going to play the Jack of Hearts. You never know what is. We believe that. Right. Here comes the Queen. And we're not going to ruff it with the 5. We're going to ruff it with the 2, rather. We're going to ruff it with the 5. And now West must resist the temptation to jump in with the Queen, Jack, or 9. Because if he does, North will play the ace, or South and Declarer will play the ace or the king. East will show out. And now he knows that he can play the suit 4, no more than 1 loser. But if West follows with the 3, he doesn't know now that, but he does know that a 4-0 break is the only thing that can hurt him. So we get our style points by finessing the 4. If it loses, then the suit has broken 3-1 and we don't have any more losers. If it wins, now we've only got 1 diamond loser. And we're all home and dry. So classic safety play. We're catering for guarding against West having 4, the Queen, Jack, 9, 4. And if West jumps in with the 9, if South leads the 10 or the 8 or the 7, doesn't matter. He should not cover it. He just gives the game away. Should just play a low one anyway. It looks obvious Declarer's going to finesse. No, Declarer's not necessarily going to finesse. He's got 9 between the 2 hands. Why should he be finessing? And the answer is, by finessing, he ensures his contract. By playing the 4, or just, you know, he doesn't even need to cover what West played. But if he covers what West plays, then he shows out. And now West has only got 2 top honours, and one of them's going to fall under the other ace or king, and the other one he will make. But he's only going to make one of them. So playing low is what West should have done in all the cases. Yeah. Exactly, Jeff. Yes.
Yeah, it depends whether you've got a good declarer and you know that.
Yeah. Well, you know, but whether you've got a good declarer or not, it won't gain you to play the 9 or the Jack. If he was going to run it, then he was going to run it. And there's nothing you could do about it. By playing the 9, and when West shows out, and let's face it, you can be confident that South has got 6 diamonds on this auction. So, you know that your partner is void. There's no advantage in playing a high colour. But once you finesse, you get the style points for finessing a 4. Very few people have made a trick by finessing a 4. Now it becomes relatively easy. The clubs are breaking, so we don't have a problem with the clubs anymore. We're going to give West 1 diamond trick, but that is all. You
really just have to hope Declarer has 5 diamonds and not 6.
Well,
and Queen, I think, will develop.
If he's got 5, you know, then he's still not going to help you by playing the 9 or the Jack or the Queen, regardless of what Declarer leads. So if he's going to run it, he's going to run it. And
yeah.
Nothing you can do about it. Pushing the 10. Well, were you going to run it anyway? Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Jock. Do we have any more questions or comments on board 3? Okay, we'll move on to board 4. Moving these pictures out of the way. Here we go. And I didn't expect many people to get this wrong, but a couple of you did. The auction was 2 no trump, 6 no trump, so we don't need to worry about the auction. It wasn't contested as such. And we get a fairly standard lead of the Jack of Hearts, and I would lead the Jack of Hearts. That promises the 10 and the 9 or the 8. and nothing higher. So partner's not going to think I've got king, jack 10 or ace, jack 10. Okay, jack. Now, it's quite obvious here. We've got 3 spade tricks. We've got 3 heart tricks is 6. We've got 2 diamond tricks is 8. We can possibly gain another diamond trick if we dock one, but that would only give us 10 maybe. We're going to need the clubs. 3 out of 5 made. Well, yeah. But what is the best way to play these clubs? We just go through that count again. 3 spades, 3 hearts is 6, 2 diamonds is 8. We need 4 club tricks. We might make 5 if the king is with south and they break 3-2. But we don't need 5. We need 4. And as I mentioned last week, this is the essence of a safety play. You give yourself the best chance of making the tricks that you need, not those that you could make. And there is a definite way of playing these clubs to make 4 tricks. In fact, the only time you can't make 4 tricks is if North has got the king 10 to 4, or indeed king 10 to 5. Then it's not possible. But any other time, to guard against them being 4-1 with the singleton king in North, just imagine. Let's go through the motions for a second. We'll win the ace, and we'll take the club finesse, as I'm sure a lot of people would. But now when that turns out to be a singleton, South still has a club trick, and we can't stop him making a club trick. And Declarer can squirm all he likes. He can only make 11 tricks. So we're going to undo that. And just imagine, let's go back. We're going to lead the club again from dummy. Well, in fact, we won't lead the club from dummy. We'll undo one more. Because the way we're going to play the clubs, we're going to cash the ace first. Now, as it happens, that solves all our problems. But just imagine that they'd both followed small. And in particular, that South started off with king 10 to 4. So the king hasn't appeared. So but what we can do now, we can cross to dummy with a spade. Or a heart, it wouldn't matter. And we'd lead a club. And we would just cover whatever South played. Well, and if he had king 10 to 4, then we'll make our jack. And now we can cross back to dummy again with a heart and play another club. And that way, we'll still make our 4 club tricks. In fact, we'll always make 4 club tricks if we cash the ace first, provided North doesn't have king 10 to 4 or worse. So cashing the ace with clubs, and I know Jeff did exactly that. Yeah, I expected him to, and I know a couple of other players did. A couple of others took the finesse and then squirmed away, but they couldn't make any more. Let's have a look at the full hand. Right, we can afford to give up a club trick when the ace drops the king. We can cash the queen and the jack and give South his club trick, but we'd made 4 tricks in the suit and 12 tricks overall. Deceptive, isn't it? Just goes to show you don't take a finesse just because it's there. You need to plan what you're trying to achieve. And here, if we needed 5 club tricks, now we don't have a choice. We need South to have the king and we need them to break. Unless North has a singleton 10, something like that. Do we have any other questions or comments on board 4?
If you were playing a different version, Colin, and wanted a top because of the state of the competition.
Oh, well, if we're playing match points, different story, Jeff. I agree.
What you would do.
I would take the finesse, same as you, because you couldn't afford to make 12 tricks while everybody else is making 13.
Right.
So, he's trying to catch me out, is Simpson. Oh, I know. Right, we'll move on to board 5. No questions or comments. Here comes board 5. And this time we do have a competitive auction. Sanya was asking me, do people really open 2 diamonds with this, Sam? Well, I probably wouldn't. I think it's probably a bit good, but that's the bidding we were given. We'll assume that that's a 2 diamond week. And West, East, with remarkable restraint, I think I'd probably bid 4, but he bids 3 spades. One player did bid 4 spades. He got overexcited. Sorry, don't want to do that. South makes it's 4 spades. I like the diamonds partner, and I've got a spade control, and I'm interested in going further. And North says, well, I'm maximum for my 2 diamond bids, so I'm going to bid 6. How many made this, Sanya? Do we know? No, at least 1 went off. My guess is that 2 went off, 3 made, and 2 went off. That's what I think. Yeah, 2 out of 5 minutes, 3 went off. This really not so much a safety play as a what could go wrong. Let's face it, you've got 6 diamond tricks, 1 spade is 7, 2 hearts is 9, and 2 clubs is 11, and a heart roughing dummy is 12. So we have 12 tricks. So what could go wrong? Well, there's only one thing that could go wrong. Well, the second heart could get roughed, I suppose. That's assuming that the trumps don't break 2-2. We'd need the hand that had the singleton heart to have 3 trumps. That would be a bit unlucky. But there's another thing that's far more likely to be wrong given the auction, and that's if our ace of spades gets roughed. Do it. Because from that point on, declare a can't afford it club loser, and off they're going to go. What can they do about it? Well, let's undo that. Right, there's the king of spades lead again. Okay. Well, the thing is, we don't mind losing a trick, provided we don't lose 2. And because the danger is that the ace of spades might get roughed, then we'll save the ace of spades till later and throw a club on it instead. So we won't put the ace of spades on here. So West won't rough it, of course. Now, what will it help? Doesn't help him to play anything else. We will rough that. Now we can play 2 rounds of trumps. And just to be on the safe side, we're going to rough the heart with the ace of diamonds. Right, so now a heart to the king. Let's need them to both follow to this one. Now we can rough the heart high. Get back to hand with a spade rough. Won't help West to rough it because it's only going to be over rough. Or last trump. And only now will we cash this ace of spades and throw away our club loser. I got a message from Pat immediately after she'd gone down in this hand to say, I want to play it again. Yes, I'm sure she wanted to play it again. I wanted up a spade, she says. Yes, she was quite right. She was a technician. She knew exactly what to do 10 seconds after she'd done something else. But we only get one chance. We have to get it right the first time. But well spotted anyway, Pat, that what you could have done. Yeah. But that was really, all we needed to do here is ask ourselves, what can go wrong? And the most likely thing that can go wrong is that ace of spades can get roughed. And if it gets roughed, then we're going to lose a club as well. But we don't need it as a spade trick. We need to, we can save it and throw the club away later. So we don't need to risk it. And even if West follows that first spade, it doesn't cost us anything. We're going to rough the second one and play just as I've just played it now. So if West has got one spade and East has got one fewer, we will still make our contract. Although we would have made it had we gone up with the ace in that case. Jock will forgive you, Pat, don't worry. Do we have any other questions or comments on board 5? Blue is a tough one. Yeah, I quite agree, Sanya. Yeah. Hopefully, I'm not teaching my grandmother to suck eggs. I know some of you know these techniques already. Jeff, I know, knows most of them. I suspect that Lab does, and I'm sure that Blue does. But yeah, that's what we're here for. We're here to try and get them right at the table. 3 spades is more deceptive than 4, yes. One player got too excited and did 4 anyway, and Declarer still got it wrong. Still went up with the ace and didn't appreciate the danger. Right, no more questions. Thank you, Annabelle. If South has 3 spades, well, why won't it work then? Because you can't get back to hand after roughing the diamond. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right. Any more questions or comments? We'll move on to board 6. When I can find board 6. Now, this one is a little on the tricky side, I think. I think this is probably one of the most difficult hands because it's counterintuitive. But let's have a look at it. No opposition bidding. East finishes in 4 spades. And we get the lead of the King of Diamonds. Okay. Now, we don't have any diamond losers. We have the Ace of Clubs to lose. That's not going anywhere, which means we have to play the spades in such a way that we don't lose more than 2. So how do we play the spades? Well, we're going to win the Ace of Diamonds, clearly. And if you think about it, if the spades are 3-2, then provided we play low on the first one, and then the king or the queen on the second round, then we can't lose more than 2 tricks. That's if they're 3-2. Okay, so what we need to guard against is them being 4-1. Now, what we need to recognize is that if we're playing to guard against them being 4-1, it will not help us to play the king or the queen on the first round. Won't help, can't help. We're going to lead the 7. And regardless of what North plays, and North might try and lead you into temptation by putting the 10 in, for example. All right. Now, that might be from ace-10 doubleton. Indeed, it might. But even if it's from ace-10 doubleton, if you duck this one and then play the king or the queen next time, then you'll still have the queen left to draw the last one, because they will have broken 3-2. But so it can't help us to play the king or the queen now. And if we play low, we're rewarded. South wins with his singleton ace. He doesn't have a choice. But if South followed small, and then when we take the lead with a diamond ruff, say, or a heart or a club, and then we play the king, if they both follow, then we're only going to lose 2 spade tricks anyway. And if North started off with ace, jack, 10, 9, North got up with 4, then we can't do anything about it. We're going to lose 2 tricks. And we cater for the occasions that we can do something about. And it makes no difference which one North plays. The 10 is a, you might say, well, I'll play North for ace doubleton then. And if it is ace doubleton, well, you'll play the queen and it will win, and you'll play a little one and the ace will drop and you'll feel, yes, I got that right. But in fact, you didn't need to play a big one at all. You could let him win his 10 and South throw it out, because now if you play the king or the queen and they've both got one, then you're only going to lose 2 tricks anyway. So from this point on, it's very easy. We can make our 10 tricks. I don't know how many people played it like that. I can't tell that, but that's the recommended line. That's the safety line. If they're 3-2, it doesn't matter. Right? You're only going to lose 2 tricks anyway. And if they're 4-1, if you're trying to guard against them being 4-1, you need to realize it can never help you to play the king or the queen on the first round. Okay, do we have any other questions or comments on board 6? That's quite a tricky hand, I think. No? Okay, board 7 coming up. Table. I didn't expect many people to get this wrong, and most of you didn't, I don't think. But this is one of those type of hands where people do have a blind spot. And let's have a look at it. No opposition bidding. South plays in 3 no trumps after North has shown a heart suit. And again, it's not relevant here, but the Jack of Clubs, one went down. But yes, a couple of them made over tricks because the opposition helped them a little, I think. I don't think you can legitimately make over tricks. Let's just see what Double Dummy says. Double Dummy says you can only make 9 tricks. That's what I thought. All right, but lead them into temptation, you never know. Lead of the Jack, for me, I've got nothing higher, partner. I've got Jack 10 9 or Jack 10 8, but I've got the 8 myself, says he, so you've got Jack 10 9. Or it's a shortage. Could be trying to find your partner's suit. Okay. Now, what have we got? Well, we've got 3 club tricks. 1 heart is 4, 1 spade is 5. We need 4 diamond tricks. And, well, we can cash 1 top diamond if we like. We never know, the singleton Jack might drop. But it doesn't. If we continue with a 2nd top diamond, and West shows out, all of a sudden we haven't got 4 diamond tricks. Because we can cash the queen, but then East is going to make the Jack 8 or the Jack 7 because we can't play 2 more diamonds without giving him 2 tricks. So what do? Well, we do our little bit of counting before we play that second top diamond. And we say, well, the diamonds might be breaking, but I can make sure of making 4 diamonds in total by just giving them a diamond, by using the power of dummies 9. It's not going to help East to duck it, but he takes it. But now we've got sufficient tricks. Another club. Now I suspect Declarer, who now can count 9 tricks, can afford to mess around a little. And, well, play a little spade. Now he can't afford to give up a spade now because the opposition was simply cashed the club. But if the opposition didn't continue clubs by switching to a heart instead, the player's got to take it because he can't get to hand anymore. Now, we know that South hasn't got any more hearts, but West doesn't. And but he doesn't know that South hasn't got 2 clubs either. So maybe he'll throw a spade away. And now, well, if his partner's given him a count on the hearts, maybe he'll throw a heart away now. Now his partner's got to follow suit. And, well, all Declarer can do now is cash his tricks. I'm not quite sure how people manage to generate over tricks. I did watch one of them, but I didn't see all of the play, unfortunately. He's going to throw a club away because he knows nobody's got any clubs left now. And West will make the last 2 trips. Yes, I know. I'm not quite sure how. I think the opposition must have helped them make extra tricks, Sanya. I'm not quite sure how they did it. I suspect that one East ducked to the 9 of diamonds. I don't think that would have gone down particularly well with partner. I may have got that wrong. I wasn't watching all the play, I'm afraid. So do we have any questions or comments on board 7? Okay, we'll go on to the last board that we played this evening, which is board 8. And this time there was a competitive auction. It's going to go 1 diamond, 1 heart overcall, 2 clubs from East, 2 hearts from South. Got roughing values, partner. And West says, I don't care. 3 if you've got clubs, partner, 3 no trumps. There's got to be a reasonable spot. Okay. And we get the lead of the Queen of Hearts. Yeah, nobody wants to ask any questions. What have we got? Well, we've got to make some club tricks because we've only got one spade. We've got two hearts. That's three. We've only got one diamond. It's four. We need at least 5 club tricks. So how do we make at least 5 club tricks? It's not going to help us to duck the heart, I don't think, although a couple of you did. But so we play a club. North plays a 7. Now, if you put the jack in and South shows out, then that's curtains. Because the one thing you can't cope with is North having 4 clubs to the Queen 10 9 if you take the first trick. If South has got 4 clubs, that can kill you. You can't do anything about it. If North shows out on the first club, you're going off. But once North follows, you can make sure of getting the club tricks that you need by ducking completely. Just imagine that South follows, then the clubs have broken 3-1 and the rest of the clubs are good. And if South doesn't follow, then you have a marked finesse against the Queen of clubs and the rest of the clubs are good. So once North follows, you're always going to make the club tricks that you need, provided you duck the first one. Can you all see that? Say yes, Colin. Deceptive, isn't it? Yeah. We don't pay enough attention to these sort of distributional indications. We're missing 4 clubs. We have the ace king in dummy. So if they break 3-1, we'll give them one. We don't mind, but we'll make the rest. And that's something that an awful lot of people miss. Putting the jack in is fine. If it loses, even, it's fine. But what if South shows out? Now you're dead. So just a matter of thinking ahead. I need at least 4 tricks. I don't need all 7. Right? Might make all 7 if the Queen is right and they're breaking. But I don't need those for my contract. I need enough to make my contract, and I can guarantee that once North follows by ducking the first one. If South follows, then remaining clubs are going to fall on the ace and the king and don't need any finesses. If South shows out, well, now I know there's a finesse, but I know to take it. We're going to claim them tricks. Needless to say, Jeff got this one right. Expected no less. I think Will Linda must have been telling him what to do. No, it's not difficult, Makiko. What if North covers? You do the same thing. You duck it. Yeah, even if North jumps up with the Queen, you duck it. You've guarded against, Singleton Queen, and, if he's got Singleton Queen, South's got 10-9x, then you go up with the ace and you're home. But not if North has got them all. And the opposition will do their best to bamboozle you. Jock in particular, and Jeff comes a close second. Believe me. So you don't worry, you decide. Before you play a club, you decide what you're going to do. I'm going to play a club and I'm going to duck it. I don't care what North plays. The over tricks are unimportant. I need 4 club tricks, and I will get 4 club tricks if I duck the first one after North follows. Bit of counterintuitive thinking, isn't it? But that's what we need to do at this game sometimes. And in match points, you mean? In match play, if we're playing teams, then you definitely do what I've just said. You make the contract. If you're playing match points, ooh, I wouldn't like to say. Yeah, I think I'd probably take the finesse now. Well, when you're playing match points, over tricks are very important, Mikiko. So you can't afford to just make 9 tricks if but if you're prepared to lose a club, so by taking the finesse, then it can't be wrong to dock the club in the first place. So I'm not sure that I would get it differently in match points. I'd be guarding against a 4-1 break, another 4-0 break, and other people perhaps wouldn't. And if they take a finesse and it loses, well, okay, they're going to make the same tricks as me. So it's heads I win and tails I don't lose, I think. Safety play technique, yes, used predominantly in imps or team play. Exactly right. The thing is that by safety play, you're giving up a chance of making possibly more tricks in the interests of making the tricks that you need. Now, in match play, that's right. But when you're playing for match points, that's not necessarily right. You sometimes have to take risks to make over tricks. There's no point you making 9 tricks by a safety play in no trumps when everybody else takes a 50% finesse and half of them work. Half of them take it and they get it right. They're all going to finish ahead of you. Total points is much more similar to match play. I'm not sure, Pat. I mean, Alan will be doing it next week. I rather suspect there would be another squeeze lesson next week. I will be putting together some more safety plays, and Alan will be doing some of them, and I'll be doing some of them. But I think next week, Alan will be continuing his play on squeezes. I found a lovely double squeeze in the competition yesterday. I was really proud of it. I showed it to him and he says, oh, yes, I'll use that in a dare competition. There you go. That's how we collect them. Okay. Do we have any more questions or comments on any of the hands we've played tonight? You're very welcome, Caroline. Okay. See you next week, or at least Alan will. One of us will. And I will see you with some more safety play hands in the future.